Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in today. This is slated for our June 2026 podcast, Elevated Medicine, by the Priority Health Academy. And today we're going to be having a guest speaker who Stephanie will introduce in a minute. And they'll be discussing a device called the Shift device. Kate Kevel is the guest speaker tonight, along with Karen Goodall. And I'll turn this over to Stephanie to further introduce our guests. Stephanie?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Salibi. We're here this morning. We want to. I just want you all to know that our goal is to bring you some of the latest information, things that pass through Dr. Salibi's rigorous filter, and you know, I, one of the most exciting things is learning something new. And throughout the pandemic, we saw so much that was untrue. And obviously, the logical question was, what else have we been lied to about? What else has been hidden from us? And so it has been a very exciting 5 years where we're getting to learn things that you don't always need a doctor for everything, and this this is one of those podcasts. So I know some of you listen while you're running, some of you listen while you're making lunch. So we're just glad to have you all with us, and we want to make things understandable for practitioners, but also for lay people, for businessmen, for grandmas. We'll shout out to my own mom who watches and gives me feedback on my hair. She's probably going to comment on things. So I just today we have Karen Gadal, Gadal, who is a physician's assistant. She's been in holistic arena since 2000, but she's been practicing for 27 years. And she brought Dr. Kate Kevel, who is the owner and creator of something called the Shift device that we're going to learn about today. She's a retired chiropractor and she lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina. She also has a stack of decades of practice behind her, 39 years of clinical experience, and over 10,000 hours of holistic training. She created the Shift in post-COVID world when she was finding that it took longer and longer to get people well. She retired after 39 years of owning her own practice and dedicated her time to working to solve the mystery of why people are so sick, and also why is it harder now to help them get well. The Shift is the result of this dedicated study, and it addresses the body's electromagnetic field and resets cellular voltage. So, Karen, let's start with you. How did you meet Dr. Kevel?
Had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Kate at a meeting here in Charleston. She spoke in late 2025, and she was actually here with a gentleman who was in our House of Representatives. He still is in South Carolina, and he was really doing a presentation around chemtrails and what we are exposed to on a daily basis. And when Dr. Kate spoke, it became evident that this is a device that helps us overcome not only the aberrant frequencies that we're exposed to on a daily basis, but also parts of the nanotechnology that we are now exposed to widely in our world. And I'll be honest, as I've shared previously, I'm a quick adapter. I bought mine that night in the audience. I was like, I have to have one of those because we are, from my perspective, truly just bombarded every day with things that our body isn't accustomed to, doesn't function well within, and we need to be armed to overcome. I'm a firm believer that we need to have devices, supplements, knowledge, tools that help us daily in our homes. And that's what I find so attractive about the device that Dr. Kate has developed. So,
And what would you say, Dr. Kate, to people who um, don't believe that there's any harm from Wi-Fi or 5G or any of that stuff?
Oh, if they don't believe it,
Mhm.
well, there's so much research out there now. I don't think people understand if you do go onto ChatGPT or Google, they'll say it's non-ionizing radiation, but we are being radiated 24/7. And then the other thing people don't understand is 5G towers put out anywhere between 100 to 190,000 gigahertz. That's that's a high frequency. I mean, microwave ovens put out 734 gigahertz. So our cells are being microwaved. Cell phones put out a high kilohertz. Cell phone towers, again, high kilohertz. And the human body, every cell in the human body resonates its healthiest between 10 and 30 kilohertz. Okay? So that's what people should really focus on is what's the most important fact here is 10 to 20 kilohertz. So 24/7, we all are being exposed to high kilohertz and high gigahertz, which is no different than being microwaved. Now, if you look scientifically, they say, oh, it's non-ionizing. So let's say if you go and you get an X-ray, that's ionizing radiation. That's harmful. You have to really do something to get that out of your body, right? Like take iodine or do some sort of chelation. Non-ionizing, they're saying, oh, the body doesn't hang on to it. Well, understandably so, if maybe it just turned on for 2 seconds a day or even an hour a day. But this non-ionizing, it's still radiation that we are getting 24/7. So how could it not be damaging? Radiation, as we know, causes cancer. It causes the cell. I've studied hundreds of people's blood under a microscope, and I mean, whether they took the jab or not, their cells are free radicalized. They're damaged, like thousands of people's cells. They're clotting. Um, it's very rare for us to see looking at people's blood if anybody's producing white blood cells. The blood is clotted. So if somebody doesn't believe that it's not harming them, I would say go look at your blood under a microscope and you'll find out the truth. That answer that question? That was a
Yeah,
long answer.
yes, I like it, especially when you give us all the numbers. Well, okay, so that also explains kind of why there's such a need for interventions in that area. What did you learn post-retirement during this dedicated period of study?
That's a great question. Um, well, it just took longer and longer for people to get well, and I really struggled with it. And then I thought, I'm tired. I had the people were getting sicker and sicker. And I might see one child a year with a rash, and I was seeing 10 children per day in the end. And I mean, so much more, so much worse, cancers, turbo cancers. So really, the first 3 or 4 months, I just thought I'm going to put my feet up and relax. I'm done. Thank God it's over. And then my phone started ringing with people. Well, I know you're retired. And I'm so sorry to bother you, but could you just see me just once, please? Just once. So it was still coming in. So, long story short, I found out through a really good friend of mine who spent 40 years in the CIA that it was going to be very difficult to help anyone get well in today's world because of the gigahertz, the signals coming off 5G, the kilohertz coming off cell phones, the frequencies that we receive 24/7. There's no break. Like some people say, well, I turn off my Wi-Fi at night. It doesn't matter because your 150 neighbors in your neighborhood all have Wi-Fi. Like it can never be turned off. We're too late. So now we have to devise uh things that will help us. But anyway, sorry, I got off track there. So, um, I didn't realize the first thing my friend had me do was download a Bluetooth Finder app on my phone.
Okay.
Seriously, at this time, I had no idea what was going on, really. I just knew that people were sick. And then I didn't have the energy either. So I download the Bluetooth Finder, and he says, walk out your driveway. And he said, what do you see? I said, hundreds of signals. He said, do you see MAC IDs? I said, yeah. He goes, those are your neighbors that took the jab. You see all those unknown? I said, yeah. He goes, those are all the cell phones, computers. That's everything. You're receiving signals from these, you're receiving what the signals are. You're receiving signals. Like your body's being hit 24/7. So I said, well, how do we stop that? Um, and he said, well, you're going to have to create a Tesla coil. You're going to have to create a way that raises the resonance of every cell or recreates it, brings it down to between 10 and 30 kilohertz. And then he started telling me about nanotechnology. So I don't know if people are aware of this, but nanotechnology started way back, like in the early 2000s, if not before. And they're tracking trackers, and you can't really see them. It's hard. You can't see them unless you have a very special microscope. They're so tiny, and they spray them in the air to measure to track weather because you want to know if a hurricane's coming. They put them in our clothing to track sales. The Reds did more red shirts sell this month? They put it in our food again, sales. I'm going to tell you, Publix is not going to throw away 2 cases of avocados. That's money. So this is helping with food. It's helping with waste so they can track what's going on, what they're selling. They started putting it in wine and beer about 2 years ago in August because it saves so much money. They can track the fermentation process. They're saving millions. Now, the problem with that is that we are consuming these nanobots. We're breathing them, we're drinking them, we're wearing them, and we have no idea. And so they take signals in and they send signals out. So we're walking computers, really. But we're
What?
not walking one computer, we're walking thousands of computers. And so what the shift does is I've created an electromagnetic field that reaches out 3 to 6 feet. And so when you use it on your body, I designed it so that everybody could have one. Because if I just made it for practitioners, you have to use it 3 to 4 times a day minimum. Because our exposure is 24/7. So
With these
What?
nanobots, Dr. Kate, don't they then get, or can't they then get trapped in tissue and cause organ dysfunction? So it's really important to help negate them. Would that be fair?
yeah, disable them for sure. So let's talk about 5G and let's talk about which, by the way, I want to tell you a quick explanation. When I came down to Charleston to speak, I wanted to get all my numbers straight. So I went on ChatGPT and I said, hey, uh, what do 5G towers put out? I think it was 15 gigahertz. And I thought, wait a minute, 2 weeks ago you said it was 190,000 gigahertz. So we're not getting the truth. So if I tell you numbers, it's because I haven't been able to find the correct numbers. I can't find truth out there anymore. So I'm going to give you an idea. Let's say we have 10,000 nanobots, which isn't that hard. They're so tiny, you can't see them. Let's say we have them in our body. Every time you turn on your phone, every time you get on your computer, anytime 5G is coming at you with gigahertz. So all of those nanobots are being heated up. They're receiving signals. So the reason why our turbo cancers, the reason why people aren't well is because what is inflammation? Heat, right? The body's hot. The body's in a state of dis-ease. So, so what we want to do is bring inflammation down. What's cancer? Cancer is just a severe inflammatory state. That's all disease is, depending on where it is. Well, so on a per second, on 24/7 hours, 24/7 hours per day, your bodies are being heated up to gigahertz. That's microwave. So, so what the shift does is it not only turns off, so I turn off the circuit board to this nanotechnology, and then it also brings every cell to resonate between 10 and 30 kilohertz.
So can you share? I mean, I'll be honest, some of this goes over my head when we start talking gigahertz and kilohertz. How exactly is the shift working? I mean, you mentioned Tesla. When you design the device, What frequency is it putting out? How does it impact our cells? Can you kind of break that down for,
Well, it's a very high, I have a high-powered power module, so I'm taking DC current and switching it to AC current, which is what Nikola Tesla did.
okay.
Nikola Tesla actually created something like this way back in the 1800s, late 1860s. But his was 10 volts. But he was able to cure many diseases with 10 volts. The shift is 100,000 volts. So we're taking a 100,000 volt power module, we're hooking it up to a 21-foot Tesla coil, and then that switches the current from DC current to AC current, and that creates a beneficial electromagnetic field. So what we're getting from cell phone towers and cell phones, that's those are non-beneficial. It's radiation, not non-ionizing. So they say, oh, it doesn't hurt you, but it does. So this is completely different than the frequencies that you hear about or the electromagnetic frequencies coming off cell phones. This is different because what we did was we switched over to AC current. So we're bringing the cell 10 to 30 kilohertz, but we're also creating a voltage that's turning off the circuit board. It will turn off batteries. So you can't wear anything battery operated like a pacemaker. Or you want to be careful not to have your phone near you. It will definitely shut off your phone. I've gone through a case of batteries in my fob, my car keys, and sometimes I'll forget they're in my pocket. And then lately, these days, my field I think is so high that even if I don't have my fob keys in my pocket, I think my body is putting out a high field where it's killing the battery. Now I've been using it for 3 years, but I'll show you something. Show you a picture. This is my field a year ago. This is 2 years using the shift. Can you see that?
Yeah. It looks like a blurry pink and blue.
Well, if you look at the top, the man who took this picture, it's a special camera out of Germany. So it measures your, if you want to call it your aura or your electromagnetic field. He said he'd never seen a field like this in the 30 years that he'd been taking pictures. So if you see the white, the seven white on the top, you see my chest is white, the lavenderish color, the white coming out of my hands, my arms, my shoulders.
Okay, so
So
that's you in the bottom center of the picture, and then the electromagnetic field around you.
yeah. So so what does that mean? Well,
Yeah.
if you I I'm certain that our electromagnetic fields have been shut off for a very long time. Like the Flexner report came out in what, 1910. So that got rid of all holistic medicine. Are you aware of the Flexner report? Okay. And then electricity, of course, came in, which Nikola Tesla was going to be in charge of electricity, but then Thomas Edison took over. So what did that do? So radiation, different form of, so we use direct current. So fluoride started going in the water, vaccines became rampant. If you look, if you look at the field of Christ, let's just say Christ. If you look at pictures of Christ, he always had a field around him. The angels, you see the halo. Like, why have we been taught that for a couple thousand years? That the holy ones had a field. Where's our field? But yet Christ said, touch my cloak and you shall be healed. You can do what I do and even more so. So we do have it. We've just lost our ability to understand that we have a field and that we can actually benefit from the higher our field, the stronger our field, we want the lavenders and the white. We want that strength to protect ourselves. We're walking around unprotected, and then we're also being hit with 15 to 195,000 gigahertz 24/7. We don't have a chance. So
Hmm.
that's why I created the shift. So
And
yeah,
so
every
really,
day. Every day, just bring your cell 10 to 30 kilohertz. Every day, turn off those nanobots. The exposure is not going to end. There are six multi-billion dollar companies in the world making nanotechnology. Six of them multi-billion throughout the world. If they're making billions of dollars, who's selling the nanotechnology? And why don't we know about it? And it's so tiny, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you don't even know it. Now, I found this neurosurgeon who was helping veterans pull surgically remove implants out of their brains. Yeah, that did happen in the military. And he was using a megaphone. So what I started doing was this is a way, see, can you see? Yeah, this is a megaphone, and I use the speaker side, and I can actually scan the body, and it will magnify the sound of nanotechnology. So I can actually find them where they are in the body. And then I'll take the shift and go right in that area and turn them off.
I will say when Dr. Kate spoke here just a few weeks ago, she did that for most everybody in the room, and everybody had them.
Mhm.
Everybody made a noise. Everybody got shifted as a result, and
Yeah,
everybody, it was quiet afterwards. I mean, it is a significant before and after impact. We were measuring one person's oxygen level, their oxygen went up. People sleep better, they have less pain. Again, I'm not making claims per se, but
yeah,
most people, if they have a challenge, and most people do, they can see a shift, no pun intended, but they can see a shift in how they feel and how their body operates. Now, I agree with what Dr. Kate just shared. It's a continual process. We are exposed every day. We're being exposed right now. And so
Mhm.
I purposely use mine a minimum of two times in the morning before I leave my house to go to work. I use it a minimum of two times when I come home because to me it's almost like taking a shower, and it is designed, and correct me, Dr. Kate, if I say anything wrong, but it's basically designed kind of like a shower head. So I can
Yeah,
rub
it
it
is.
over my body and negate, and I, of course, focus on major organs, um,
Mhm.
but negate anything that I was exposed to in the air, in the water, in my food, the fields around me in terms of the EMF in my phone and my computer. So I feel like it's almost like an additional daily bath to cleanse
Mhm.
ourselves at the cellular level. Um, and from my perspective, if anyone is dealing with the more serious the diagnosis, from my perspective, the more serious they need to reset their body's frequency,
Right.
which is why I'm certainly recommending it to my clients and patients to just as one additional factor. It is not the cure-all. I think we can all be in agreement with that. There's many things we need to be aware of and doing, but it is an additional tool to help us rebalance and overcome what we are exposed to on a daily basis.
Do you think part of the intention of these technologies is to damage our electromagnetic fields?
You
Or
know, I like to stay on the positive end. We can all go down rabbit holes and who are they and the elite and they're trying to kill us and you know, I if I were going to look at it, I think that we have all participated. We all love our electricity. We love our lights. We love our dishwasher. We love a nice warm home at night that we can turn on the heat in the winter, and we love air conditioner. So we love our car. We love the gasoline in our car. Have we, as a collective, injured our planet? Yeah, we have. Um, did this all purposely? I don't want to believe it is. I think that probably the goal was to help. Listen, we want to make sure that if a hurricane's coming your way, we can tell you to evacuate 10 hours before instead of an hour before.
Mhm.
Um, there's so much wasted food in the world. We want to stop food waste. I think that there were good intentions, but I also think Elon Musk went to, I think it was Bill Clinton decades ago and said, look, you guys have got to start regulating AI because if you don't, in 10, 15 years, it's going to be way too late. Well, that's where we are. We're already here. It's not going to be turned off. So our only option is instead of diving down a rabbit hole and saying, "Oh my gosh, it's population control and they are trying to kill us." I think that brings the cell resonance down too,
Mhm.
right? Or up into inflammation. So our goal is 10 to 30 kilohertz every cell resonate health. Stay as positive you can, and then we all just have to collectively come up with solutions like the shift. I've got some other ideas going and help each other and move maybe towards a world where we're participating um in in helping our planet instead of destroying it.
Dr. Kate, can you speak a little bit to how this has been studied? Because, folks are going to want to know what have you seen and how has it been studied?
Yeah, so I started off, I do muscle testing, applied kinesiology. I started out with that. I saw such significant results that I thought, well, a lot of people aren't going to find this scientific. So then I found a Dr. Jean Paton. She's been doing live cell microscopy for over 40 years. We started looking at patients before and after the shift. We would look at patients' blood. She, by the way, has never seen blood like it is today.
In
The
terms of the
clotting.
negative aspect.
Yeah, the clotting. We're not seeing white blood cell production. She's not seeing red blood cell production. She can't find T cells. And that's in the non-vaccinated too. People think that they're safe because they didn't take the vaccine, but we are all infected.
Mhm.
So what we found, the very first person, so we would look at their blood. We would see blood clots. We would see, of course, um, nanotechnology, but how it's carried in a certain substance. We would see, of course, no red blood cells, no white blood cells, and then I'd use the shift for 30 seconds on somebody. Then we'd wait 15 minutes. We let the blood circulate, and then we would put their blood under the microscope, and we would see white blood cell production, new red blood cell production, which it takes the human body 90 days via the spleen, small intestine, and bone marrow to produce new red blood cells. We would see that in 30 seconds. T cells, we saw clotting stop. So the and dancing red blood cells. I like to call it dancing red blood cells. Most people, when you look at their blood, there's no movement. After you use the shift, there's actually the cells are moving around and dancing. The white blood cells are going after certain bacterias or harmful. Oh, we would see the spike protein embedded into the cell wall. We'd see that be pushed into the lymphatic system and off the cell wall. We would see damaged cells, which everybody has them these days. We would see damaged cells thrown out and new cell production just after using it for 30 seconds. Let's see, what else have I used? I've looked at the brain. It induces alpha, which is nice. That's a meditative brainwave. I've done oximeters. I've seen oxygen go from 55 up to 100 in a very short amount of time, depending on how sick the person is. But for oxygen to increase from 55 to 100 in less than an hour is unheard of.
Mhm.
I've sent blood off to a lab, clotting factor is 1800, and used the shift, took the blood again, sent it off to the lab, and clotting factors dropped down to 800. So it dropped 1,000 points just after 30 seconds with the shift. And that's looking at blood from a lab.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else have I used it? I've had a lot of testimonials. One of my favorite was I had a farmer from Michigan call, and every spring he and his wife would go and get new chickens, new baby chicks. And so they bought 15 baby chicks, put them out in the barn, and the next morning they went to check on them. And he said, I don't know why, Dr. Kate, but they all 15 chicks jumped into the water trough. Well, it got real cold that night, and there was a layer of ice on the water trough. And so two of the baby chicks were face down, and the other ones were almost frozen to death. So my wife and I got some towels and blow dryers, and we're warming them up. And he said, but those two baby chicks face down. I put them in my hand. He said, no, Dr. Kate, I'm a farmer. And he said, I have got big hands. He said both those chicks fit in my hand, and I went outside and I asked the Lord to bless them and take them on home. And he said, I heard God say, get the shift. This is a true story. And I'm like going, what? So he said, I ran into the house, got the shift, shifted these two baby chicks, and he said, Dr. Kate, I'm going to tell you, both those baby chicks' hearts turned on, synchronized beating at the same exact second. And to this day, we use the shift on all of our animals, and we have the healthiest chickens in Michigan.
Hmm.
So that's one of my favorite. Of course, I've had a lot of testimonials. The FDA, they really don't like the idea of the shift. So I have to not talk about health at all. And then it's illegal to turn off nanotechnology in the United States of America. So it's been an interesting experience. So I'm really now, I think I'm going with the field, 10 to 30 kilohertz. What is a cell? What does a healthy human cell want to resonate at? 10 to 30 kilohertz. What are we getting 24/7? 15 to 195,000 gigahertz. If people can get that into their mind, because you can't feel it until it's too late. And I'm sure you've heard of it. Um, I mean, as an MD or all of your professions, I'm sure you say, yeah, my cousin was fine one day, and now he has stage 4 turbo. We're calling it turbo cancer out of nowhere. It's like it just doesn't happen out of nowhere.
I had someone tell me just the other day that their father, when he got exposed to high amounts of EMFs, it put him into AFib.
Oh,
And
yeah, a lot of AFib these days.
he said, when I go, he lives in a more secluded area from my understanding. And if he goes like into town where he's around a lot more, he said, he now wears an EMF protective shirt,
Yeah, good
which
for him.
he said, as long as I wear the shirt, I'm fine. But if I don't wear
Wow.
the shirt, it'll flip me into AFib.
So he probably has a lot of nanotechnology. He's receiving those signals.
Mhm.
So the shirt's great, but you also want to be able to, you have to be able to disable them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we talk a lot about spike proteins these days. Is this something that can help us detoxify, vaccinated or I think we all probably have had our antibodies to COVID checked, and it's rare to find anybody that doesn't have it, whether it was a natural infection or through vaccination.
Right.
And spike proteins are thought to be contributing to some of our load and change of disease profiles. So how does this affect spike protein? Or does it?
Well, oh, absolutely. So first of all, you want to go back to it's not really the shift that's curing anything. It's just bringing every cell between 10 and 30 kilohertz, which is what a human healthy cell likes to resonate at. The healthier the body, the greater the field, the healthier the cells that are resonating between 10 and 30 kilohertz, the body will and can heal itself.
Mhm.
Now, what have I seen with live blood? I wanted to see with Dr. Jean, let's see the difference between the jab people and the unjab people. So we got 10 women in that had taken the COVID vaccines and the boosters. We look at their blood and it looked clean as a whistle. We look at an unjabbed person and there's spike proteins, there's all kinds of it really is a mess. So I'm like, Dr. Jean, how could this be? She said, I don't know, but use the shift on them. I used the shift, let them rest for 15 minutes, take their blood, and the amount of toxins in their blood probably 100 times the person that didn't take the jab. But at first, we were looking at their blood and it was completely clean. So what we surmised is that it's already embedded into the organs and glands,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And so when the 5G, cell phones, computers, when those signals um, hit the the organs and glands that are in an inflammatory state, then they're going to be quicker to have disease. So the shift, so I don't know if that made sense, but when we use the shift, clean blood, all of a sudden it just pulls everything out. So we know it's pulling it out of the organs and glands. We don't want this stuff in the organs and glands. The lymphatic system in the blood, because we can clean the blood, we can clean the lymphatic system, right? But once it gets in the organs and glands, it gets tougher. And we're
Yeah.
seeing that the shift is pulling it out. The electromagnetic field is pulling all the toxins out of the organs and glands to be addressed.
So then helping the body to detoxify what it's been exposed to,
Yes.
putting it back into
We
circulation.
Yeah, we see spike proteins jabbed and unjabbed, and they look like ticks on a red blood cell.
Mm,
They embed themselves into the red blood cell. They implant themselves,
mm,
and that cause inflammation.
interesting.
Post shift, 30 seconds, the spike proteins are off the cell wall, floating around to be excreted.
Mm. I will share, I was at a conference earlier this year and there was a woman there doing live blood. And I do travel with my shift because, hotels are one of the most dirty places
Yeah,
in terms of EMF. And so I just, it's become a habit, frankly. And so I had shifted that morning and was down at the conference, had my live blood done. And I was real curious, what is she going to find? And she was pleasantly surprised. She's like, wow, your blood looks better than most. It looks
right.
like you have nice rouleau or you don't have,
Yes,
I can't remember now. Rouleau is what we don't want, I think. I'm not a live blood
yes, that's
expert
the
at all.
clotting.
But she was
Right.
like, your red blood cells aren't stuck together. And she was like, I see white blood cells. Um,
Yeah, which is very rare.
yeah, she said you don't see a lot of that. And so anyway, I told her afterwards, she was like, you're better than most. And I was like, yay. And I
I
said, "Well,
know.
I don't know if you've heard of this device, but I use a device called the Shift." And
Oh,
anyway, it was just we had an interesting conversation, but I was thankful because, it was evidently
yeah.
the blood cells, they were flowing, they were not stuck together. There were
Yes.
definitely white blood cells, so it was good. It was
Yeah,
perfect, and
it's
that's what
easy to talk about it, but when people experience, when they look at their blood, it's an automatic. First of all, well, your blood was great, but most people's blood looks so bad that it's like, oh no. It can be scary.
yeah,
And then using the shift where they can actually see it, that it really is wonderful when that happens. Or taking your oxygen with an oximeter and then taking it after using the shift and seeing the increase. It's nice. Or you're using the megaphone, the
yeah,
before and after. It's nice to see that.
yeah.
It's
Well, if
it's
my
it's
friends and
difficult to explain because you can't feel it, you can't see it. You just don't know.
clients that are using it, I hear that they overall have more energy. I have
Yeah.
one who's told me I used to really feel like I need to take an afternoon nap, and I don't feel like I need to take a nap anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
I've,
great.
I've had some that say they feel like they're just overall sleeping better, more soundly.
Yeah,
Um,
bowel movements are better.
yeah. So it's, I think it's subtle in most
Yeah.
cases, but again, it's equally very important shifts that our body needs to make. Is there anyone who can't safely? I think you mentioned pacemaker earlier.
Yeah.
Anyone who can't safely use the device other than someone with a pacemaker?
Yeah, unfortunately, the people that need it the most, that would be people with a pacemaker, what do they for diabetics have?
Like an
The
insulin pump?
yeah, insulin pumps, that's battery operated. Some of your people may have implants of with pain,
Yeah. Okay.
pain reducers,
Circulator, anything like that? Okay.
that. Other than that, though, just anything battery operated, it's not gonna help you out. It'll turn off the battery.
Okay.
And children, uh,
Children are great. We had, I don't know if it's like this in Charleston, but um, elementary schools make a lot of money to have a 5G tower on their property.
Yeah.
And so we have an elementary school here in Spartanburg, and it's become common for the parents to bring Kleenexes because the children are having nosebleeds.
Yeah.
You ever remember having nosebleeds when your mom would pick you up from school or you walk home? I used to walk home from school. I don't recall ever having a nosebleed. All of a sudden, all the children are nosebleed, except for my families with the shift. Their kids aren't having nosebleeds.
Hmm.
The kids love it. Big dogs love it. Little dogs don't like it so much. Horses love it.
Yeah.
Um,
My plants love it.
Now your plants love it. Yes. Yeah. Um, I do about anywhere between 50 and 100 push-ups a day, and I rollerblade 5 to 10 miles at least 3 times a week, sometimes a lot more. My energy's up immensely, but I'm on year 3,
Hmm.
and my blood looks amazing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the cleaner our blood, the better we're going to be. 10 to 30 kilohertz, all of our cells resonating. The greater our field.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know that we're all energetic beings. Um,
Yeah.
and so any these aberrant frequencies from my perspective, again, correct me if you see it differently, but it brings our overall energy down. And
Yes.
so what we are doing with a device like the Shift is we are helping to restore the proper energetic balance signal,
Yes.
and just helping the body. I think of, we do have an energy field that extends beyond us. We know that. The larger it is, the healthier we are. I've always been taught it should be like a double arm's length around us. But I
Mhm.
think most people today, it barely is an inch or two beyond them
Yeah,
because,
if they even have one. I don't know if they have.
yeah, but because of all the bombardment. So anything we can do to increase our field and be
Right.
helpful, um, is fantastic.
Hmm.
So,
I'm sure
So,
you've all been to the grocery store lately. I don't know if it's just me, but I mean, I'm pretty zippity dude all day. I move. I mean, I've got a lot of energy and I'll be 69 in a week or two. And I'll go into the grocery store and I'm just looking at people like they might, the
mhm,
driving the carts and the canes and they're moving slowly. And I'm thinking, have I just not seen this? Have I
yeah,
ignored it, or is this worse? I think it's worse, isn't it?
yeah,
I've never seen anything like it before.
I agree. And people are getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
very concerning. Very concerning.
Yeah. I had
so
a little boy patient, 8 years old. His parents brought him to me, and all of his muscles were just atrophied. His facial muscles atrophied. His face was caving in. It's out of nowhere. He's better now. It took about 3 weeks, but you know, what the heck's going on?
Mhm.
so if someone gets this and doesn't have a megaphone,
Right.
do you what is it like you press a button and almost act like you have a magic wand, or
Yeah. Can you see this?
yes,
This is the shift, and this is the on button, and this is
okay,
the active.
that
Can
what's the
you
second
hear? Can you hear that on Zoom?
No, no.
Yeah. So anyway, you use it like you're taking a shower.
one?
It does put out a sound. We just
You
can't
hear
hear
it a
it.
little bit. Hmm.
A little buzz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
so
So it's
It it takes about 45 seconds, maybe 30, 45
yeah.
seconds, kind of to run it over the body.
Mhm.
I'll do mine, Dr. Kate, just so you can see what you can or can't hear, but
Okay.
I don't want to blow up my computer.
I know.
Can you hear it?
No, you know what? The Zoom mutes outside sounds.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
you can't hear the megaphone either.
Okay. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you all wanted, this is the original shift.
oh neat.
And then the original one I called Wipeout. So I made it for children, like Superman style.
Fun.
But then I got in a little trouble because they wanted to know what I'm wiping out. So then I went energy wise, made it smaller, went more towards energy, and then we've had some great success, stage 4 cancers and everything with this one. But we had some returns, way too many returns. So then I changed the design, made it bigger, and I put 2 air holes in. So we made some changes along the way.
Yeah. It does still have to rest because of the amount of
Yes.
voltage coming out. Again,
Oh,
correct me,
thank
Dr. Kate, if I'm saying it wrong, but it'll potentially does something to the circuit. I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell us why we have to do like 6 seconds
Let it
on.
rest.
Yeah, let it rest.
Very high powered power module. We need that much to produce the field that we need.
Okay.
So at 100,000 volt power module, when you turn this on, you have to do like a fast count of six, and then let it rest for a couple seconds. Otherwise, you'll blow up the power module. You can't just keep running it.
Which is easy to do. It becomes really just a habit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do five because I don't want to blow mine, so I
Right.
do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just run it up and down my body, focusing on organs. I focus a lot on breast tissue. I do
Yeah.
axillary. I do my mouth. I do my
Yep.
head and hair. I do my spine. Um, because I'm a lymphatic therapist, also, I focus on lymphatics, popliteal, axillary, um, major lymphatic areas that I'm trying to help flow. And
Right.
yeah, so
And so it will blow up your phone or your computer somehow. It will hurt.
It will not blow it up. It just will disable the circuit board. Yes. Or the battery. Right.
yeah, you want to be at least 3 feet away, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we've put it on certain phones. Some phones it doesn't disable right away. Other phones it'll knock it out. You have to get a new phone, and that's an expense. It's very expensive. So it
Not
will hopefully, if it doesn't damage your phone, if you put it right on it, it will in time kill the circuit board.
Yeah, and not that we want that to happen to anyone, but it just shows the power that's coming
Yes,
out of the device.
right.
Because
Nobody's ever done this before. Nobody's done what we've done. This has
you know,
never this has never been done before. So, um, every day is we're learning.
yeah.
And but the results just blow my mind. It's I've and so the only thing that keeps me going is
Can you
hearing
share
people's stories.
if you will, Dr. Kate, share one more story, and that's the lady that had been discharged from the hospital.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but she'd basically been sent home to die,
Yes.
and she was a patient of yours. Share that story.
Yes.
Quickly.
All I had was this. This is the original. And it was a Monday morning, and this patient of mine called me up and said, Dr. Kate, I've been in the hospital for 2 weeks. I've had pneumonia, double pneumonia. And she said, they cannot get my oxygen above 50. And they told me to go home and call hospice, that I would be dead by Friday. This is a Monday morning. So she goes, and I know, Dr. Kate, you're retired, but I know you can help me. You've helped me my whole life. I know you can help me. I said, well, Miss Emily, I don't know. I've got this thing. I've got this device. I said, I don't know if I can help you, but why don't you come over? So she pulls in the driveway. My son carried her in the car because she could barely walk. My first thought that morning was, who do I call when she dies on my couch? I mean, that's how poorly she looked.
Mm.
So I started using the original, and within, I don't know, not even 5 minutes, she pulled her oxygen mask off and said, oh my gosh, I can take a breath for the first time in months. What is that thing? Keep using it, keep using it. And her color came back in. She turned nice bright red. And then I think, since it was my first go at it, and this was 50,000 volt. Um, but probably 30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, she danced carrying her oxygen tank to her car and got home and called me up and she said, I just put my oximeter on, my oxygen's at 100, Dr. Kate. I knew you could help me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So, you know, that's a big deal. She's still alive 3 years later. How does that happen?
And I think you said she was one of the first purchasers of the device, right? She was
Uh,
like, make me one of those.
yeah, yeah, she has the original.
The Superman one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So if anybody's watching this and they want to maybe add it to their practice, own one, of course, for their own family and home, tell us how people do that. I mean, do people use it in practice? I know you've designed it for it to be individual use, but give us a little rundown of that.
Yeah, I have gosh, I have a couple hundred docs all over the United States, Spain, Portugal, Dubai, where else? Romania, Australia. I've got a few docs there using it. I suggest if you're a practitioner, you might as well buy two, depending on how many people you're going to see, because I mean, it'll just be a matter of time before you blow out the power module. I designed it for home use. I designed it to create independency. I designed it to help the children, and I designed it to help humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I made it. I didn't design it for practitioners because to me, I did that. I ran a practice all those years. What are they going to come in and how much are you going to pay me to shift you 3 to 4 times a day? It didn't make sense. So
Right.
I've made it affordable. I've made it take home. Will we invent something for practitioners at some time? I'm sure we will. We're looking at creating a doorway. So when you come home at night, you just hit a button like a doorbell button and it scans your whole body and clears you, and then you go on it in the house. But we're just working on just getting the shift to really function properly, and then we'll move forward.
Okay.
So
Exciting.
did that answer your question? Yeah. So practitioners are using it. Um, a
Your
lot of
website?
nice results. But basically, I have more just humanity, just people, children,
Yeah.
moms and dads,
Yeah. Whole family.
farmers.
I mean, intended it for the whole family use. Their animals,
Have-
their pets, their
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people using it on their pets. I have a family that's 6 children and 2 parents, so they went ahead and bought two because they're shifting a lot.
Mhm.
So,
And is it okay to ask the cost?
575.
Mhm. Excellent. And theshiftdevice.com?
Oh yes, theshiftdevice.com. Yeah, I've
Okay.
got a website. You can read about how it works. You can watch a live video of how to use it.
Mhm.
I have a resource page that talks all about nano, all kinds of great articles in there about what we're getting hit with. And I actually do have a demonstration, I think maybe the next time, or you could just view it yourself. It's on my website. But it talks about how many cell phones, how many computers, how many cell towers, how many 5G towers are in the world, how many satellites. I've got this video. You'll have to go on theshiftdevice.com and check it out. It shows, and I think it's 1954, the amount of satellites to today. And so it just tells you we're living in a whole different world. It's not the same anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to address this. There's no other way. I
Well,
honestly, there's
we have
no
to
other way.
we have to protect ourselves because
We
no one
do.
else is going to.
We
Uh,
do.
We really do. We have to I tell my patients and clients the person responsible for for your health is the person you see in the mirror every morning.
That's right.
We have to educate ourselves, we have to care for ourselves, and yes, we build a team of people around us who can help
Yes.
us and educate us and share good things because one person we just can't do it all. Um,
Right.
we are ultimately responsible for our own health.
Yes. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah,
It's so true. It's the truth.
Yeah.
that's a very good final thought. And Dr. Kate, you're such a special person. I feel like I'm meeting a very cool inventor, and I'm imagining you rollerblading down the street. Um, Very good to meet you, and thank you for coming this morning to share this.
Thank you so much.
You opened an invisible world to us, and we will check out your website and look at what you have there. Thank you, and thank you,
Oh,
Karen, for bringing her and for.
yeah, thank you, Karen.
Yes, ma'am. I'm honored.
And Stephanie, I appreciate really having me here this morning too. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you guys just have a good day. I know you're gonna be clean.
Yeah.
Um, and we thank you again. Y'all have a very good afternoon.
Thank,
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Karen.
thank you.
All right, bye now.